Welcome, friends,
to the How-To Heretic.
I'm Uncle Mark.
And I'm Uncle Dan.
And this is your user's guide to life on the outside.
That's right. Leaving religion is the first step into a larger, better world.
But it can also be a scary world. Things work differently now.
Never fear, that's why we're here.
We're your audio uncles, and with help from good friends and experts in all sorts of fields,
we're going to share the stories and seek the knowledge we all need to build a great life.
After all, you only get one that we know of, so you'd better make the most of it.
That's right. Let's get on with the show.
Let's do it. Today, on our premiere broadcast, we will be visiting the Graveyard of the Gods.
We're going to hear about a fun religion that exists in the world.
That's right. And later on, we have an amazing interview with our friends Sean and Scott from the Water Witch Bar.
That's right. Our first how-to is going to be how to drink.
How to drink, should you care to.
Because let me tell you something, kids. Uncle Mark and I, were raised in the Mormonist of all of the religions.
The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
That's the one, and we don't drink. We Mormons. So we had to learn that. It's not easy.
Who's this we? Okay, yeah. We caught up. We made up for lost time.
We did, and we'll talk about that.
So welcome to the first broadcast of the How-To Heretic. Dan has long been. I think you guys have been on the air for 5 years.
Yeah, more than that. We're chomping at the bit of completing year 6.
That's insane.
We just had our 300th episode.
So these guys, Dan and Frank have had. Thank God, I'm atheist for a long time, which I have been fortunate enough to sit in on.
Oh, you've been an integral part of the whole thing.
More than a couple times, and I've been very grateful for that. But, as Dan and I talked, we realized as both people who participate in an atheist podcast and people who listen to them, that there was a space out there that kind of wasn't being served. And that was, kind of the first stop for maybe the skeptical curious.
Those who are dipping their toes into the waters for the first time of non-religiosity.
Yeah.
It's a scary world.
It can be a very scary, and I think it was for us.
It can be intimidating.
Yeah.
You don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
I was raised in a religious household, not too oppressive, but all religion is oppressive to some extent. And when you leave it, you don't know how to do it. You don't know. The world is a new and different place.
Right. So we aim to, and you guys will let us know if we're being successful. We aim to provide some chat and some vocabulary and hopefully a couple laughs along the way.
We're your audio guides.
Yes.
Into the void. So welcome. Let's move on.
All right. Moving on to our first segment. All right, friends, this is Think Better with Professor Jim.
Yeah, we have Professor Jim Tabry here in studio with us, and he is going to teach us all of the ways that we are thinking badly and how to think better. Welcome, Jim.
Happy to be here. Thanks, guys.
It's a privilege and an honor to have you in the room. Talk to us. We brought you in to fix our brains.
That's the idea.
Yes.
Because we're bad at thinking. It turns out human beings...
That's right.
...have amazing thinkers, but we do it very badly sometimes.
It's not. You shouldn't take it personal. It's not just you two.
Right.
This whole species has trouble with these things.
Why did you say you two? I think Dan was admitting it was him. I have nothing to do with this.
Nope.
Now, Jim, you and I aren't so different because you teach at a university. I dropped out of a university. And I think that makes us very, very similar.
It makes us all brothers.
Yeah,
I think.
Did you drop out of it? Did you finish?
I dropped out of a university, but also I've been to several campuses in the world, so I feel like that ties us all together.
You're a student of life.
I had a nice lunch at Stanford, so I've been to Stanford.
There you go.
And that's actually true.
I went to Stanford.
Did you?
No.
Oh.
Damn it!
All right. Well, what do you have to tell us?
So Jimbo, you've got some way in which we're thinking badly, and you're going to help us understand why it's bad thinking and what's going on.
Yeah. So the idea with these is to identify propensities that humans have for thinking poorly.
Okay.
And I'll try to use examples because it turns out there's plenty of them.
Okay.
Okay. So here's the first example. Back in 2011, you may recall a real estate developer who at the time was known largely for reality TV and sort of textbook narcissism suddenly jumped onto the national political stage by lending credence to this idea that our President Barack Obama's birth certificate was illegitimate, and that he was not actually born in the United States. And because of that, he wasn't a citizen of the United States, and so in turn, he had no rightful claim to be President of the United States. Have you heard of this?
Was that all the way back in 2011?
2011, believe it or not.
This was one Donald John Trump.
The one and only
that you're talking about.
Yeah. So he, parlayed what was basically a reality TV gig into, increasing his Twitter followers, marketing for the show, getting on all sorts of television shows and doing interviews that he wouldn't normally have done.
Now, wait a minute. I'm going to hold you right there because it seems to me that cynically you are somehow claiming that his foray into the political sphere just had self-interest at heart, and wasn't.
Well, look, I'll allow it. Let's just let him.
Okay.
I'll allow it.
Okay.
Let's see where he's going.
I've been overruled. Go on, please.
So the claim when he entered this space was we should doubt whether or not President Obama was born in the United States, and he demanded evidence. He said, "I want to see the president's long-form birth certificate." The president had already released his short-form birth certificate in 2008 when he was up against McCain.
Which had been certified by the state of Hawaii.
Yes. Now, Trump wants to see the long-form birth certificate. This is sort of the one that, has much more detail on it, all the signatures that's been notarized. President Obama releases the long-form birth certificate.
Oh, so story's over.
Right. So at this point, right, Trump is going to say, okay, you got me, right? No. What he does is releases a video where he says, now I want to see President Obama's college applications and transcripts, and I want to see his passport application and transcripts. And he says, if the president can provide that, then I will be satisfied. And in fact, he even offers, he says, I'll make a $5 million donation to whatever charity that the president would like.
Right.
Okay. So this is an instance of, it can be called different things, the moving goalpost.
Right.
Or sometimes in class I'll call it shifting skepticism, where basically the idea is you make a claim and say, if certain evidence can be provided, then that will satisfy me. I will believe what I'm being told.
Sure.
And then the evidence is provided.
And you say, actually what I want is this evidence over here.
Right.
Right. And obviously, right, had Obama provided his, passport or college transcripts, then it would have been his, third grade phys ed
right.
scores.
Sure, we can see that you actually deserve to go to Harvard, but or Columbia, but what about Harvard? Or, whatever the next thing is.
Exactly, yes. And
did you really write that book?
Yeah.
I want to see emails between you and your publisher.
And what it indicates is, right, this is less about evidence and more about somebody's already got a pre-established idea about how the world is.
Right.
In this case, that Obama is not a legitimate president. And really no amount of evidence is going to change their mind.
Right. Which that's the right way to do it, isn't it? You establish a belief and then never let evidence get in the way of that belief.
And then you pound the shit out of reality until it's broken enough to fit. Right?
And I think there is a sense in which it's sort of skepticism gone bad, right? Because I think what these people can sort of couch their ideas in terms of being skeptical. It's sort of like, well, look, I'm just sort of being skeptical. I need a little more evidence. And so in that sense, it seems like they're being legitimate reasoners. But, right, the idea here is if you're going to stick your neck out and say, if you can provide this bit of evidence, I'm going to change my mind. When that evidence comes along, hey, you're kind of obligated to change your mind there.
Right. And this is, I think what we've hit on is one of the major sticking points of human brains, which is they don't want to change their minds. It's a wildly uncomfortable feeling to be confronted with the fact that one of your beliefs is probably wrong.
Yeah.
And changing and honestly considering that, and then actually taking the step of changing your mind feels gross.
Yeah.
It feels hard.
Well, it also requires a certain an intellectual honesty and a maturity to say, okay, fine,
I
was
got that
wrong.
one wrong.
I was
Right.
wrong about that. I am man enough or person enough to accept that.
Yeah.
And if Donald Trump had done that, I would have been like, shit, I have to have a good feeling about Donald Trump being consistent somehow.
Yeah.
Right.
But of course, that's not what he did. So I would have a question about like what this would be in like a religion versus reason or rationality, setting. For instance, the constant balderdash arguments online about, say, evolution versus creation. And every time there's new evidence presented for, the fact of evolution, well, I don't believe that.
That's right.
Or I need this. I need this proof. I need a transitional fossil. I need this. I need this.
Moving those goalposts is a fantastic way of never having to fully acknowledge what has come to you.
Yeah. That you were wrong.
It's because what's interesting about it is that it's actually a dodge for the evidence that's already been presented. It doesn't present itself as a dodge. It presents itself as, well, I need more. But what it actually is emotionally, it's a way of avoiding confronting the thing that has just been presented. It's like it's an end run around that thing.
Yeah.
So when someone says, yes, long form, there it is, we have the birth certificate, I'm going to shove that aside and not actually think about that, and I'm going to move on to the next problem.
Right.
I think
That's right. Suddenly the long form birth certificate matters not at all.
Right.
It's just gone as a thing.
It was
never about the long form birth certificate.
Right.
It was about, this guy not being a legitimate president.
Yeah,
Right.
We are suddenly at war with Eurasia rather than Eastasia, and the war with Eastasia is gone.
Right.
It never happened.
So is there a cure for this? How do we individually combat this, and how do we combat it out in the wild?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it starts with what I'd say is a very noble idea. So lots of people sort of just go about their lives believing what they're believing. Trump, to his credit, said, I want to see this, and if I see this, I will change my mind or back down on my claims about his legitimacy, right? Science starts, if you think of sort of like science and the scientific method, science starts by making bold conjectures, and then you test them to see whether or not they play out.
Right.
He started with a bold conjecture, right? But the difference is in science, when you start with a bold conjecture and it gets refuted, you say, okay, that hypothesis didn't work.
Right.
Right? Where they went wrong is you say, bold conjecture gets refuted, and then say, okay, actually what I meant was something else.
Right.
So, I would say, sticking your neck out every now and then and saying, look, if someone can supply me with this, I will change my mind about this thing.
Right.
And that actually takes some thinking to sort of challenge yourself to think about what would it take for me to change my mind on something that I believe dearly.
You're saying I could be wrong.
That's right.
Which is a very intellectually mature thing.
Yes.
And rational thing to say.
Yeah. And try to think through what would be the conditions that would prove that I'm wrong.
Right.
If you can't be proven wrong, then you should have real concerns about your beliefs, right? Now we're in the domain of something called unfalsifiability, where basically you're believing things that can't be proven true or false.
Right.
And so bold conjectures, if I can see this, I'll change my mind. I'm all for that, right? Where you go wrong is then not sticking to it when the evidence is actually supplied.
Is moving the goalpost.
Moving the goalpost, yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, look out for that when you're out there in the world, kids. If you're doing it, cut it out.
Knock it off.
And if you find someone else doing it, you can point it out to them, gently or otherwise.
Yeah, let them know that they're moving the goalposts.
And just
that's bullshit.
And the way and to my mind, you can say you're moving the goalpost. Just force them to answer the first question first. There are other questions may arise. That may be a thing, but you got to confront the thing that you said.
Remember when you said that?
Remember when that was going to be a thing? You're going to have to deal with that.
Yeah,
And before we move on to anything else, you're going to have to acknowledge what you said and what has happened.
And something that we've talked about as on the show as when we were defining the word skeptic is turn that on yourself. Question your beliefs, and question your stances, and none of us live in a lab. It's not like you have to falsify everything you've ever done or thought about, but apply the skepticism you would apply to someone else's claims to your own.
Absolutely. Expose
And
yourself
also,
to different ideas.
Get out there and start praising people who change their opinion, who change their beliefs. You know what I mean? Like anybody who, if someone does have a very bold claim, a bold stance on something, and they are presented with evidence, and you see them actually process that evidence and change their mind, buy that man a beer.
Yeah.
Buy that woman a fur coat. Do something, because these people are heroes.
Don't buy
takes
a fur
a lot
coat.
of guts.
Don't buy a fur coat, but do credit them.
Right. Well,
Fur is murder.
Your fur is murder. Moving on. Well, Uncle Mark,
Yes, Uncle Dan.
I am going to exhume from the graveyard a god today
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today.
to rehash one of those fallen gods of yesteryear.
So there's so many to choose from, Dan.
It's just thousands, literally thousands of gods have come and gone in the imaginations of humanity.
All across the world.
Yeah.
In every culture and every flavor and of people and place.
Right. Well, so I decided.
Who's today?
Here's what I did. I thought, we just a few weeks ago we had that total solar eclipse. I went all the way up to Idaho to witness the totality.
I panicked.
I'm sure you did.
Yeah.
I think my image is just you running around in a circle,
Screeching
Yeah.
till I was hoarse.
So I originally thought, I'll just do the Egyptian sun god Ra. And I was reading about it, and let me tell you something, kids. You got to be an Egyptologist to get all. Like, I would have to read all the things, and eventually we'll get to that. We'll read all the things, and we'll be the experts on all of the gods. They're sort of go-to guys, but we're not that now. But here's what I found. I liked someone else more.
Oh.
Sekhmet is who we're talking about today.
Sekhmet.
Sekhmet is a goddess, a god of
A lady god.
a lady god. I mean, such as she is, she's got a lioness head.
Ooh.
So that's kind of
Oof.
meow. Sekhmet.
Meow. Sorry, she's dead.
She goddess of fire, war, fertility, and healing. The healing part's interesting because you don't hear a lot about the healing in the stories you get with Sekhmet.
It is interesting, though, that a lot of, Dan and I both, we've left religion, but I think we both still find it fascinating. And certainly mythology. It's interesting how often one god embodies both ends of a thing.
Yeah.
Birth and death.
Yes.
War and fertility, et cetera, et cetera.
It is that's a good point.
Yeah. Especially when you have multiple gods, each one can have a job.
Yeah, right.
Right. So why give...
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can just invent another one. Yeah, you've got one for war.
Yeah.
Invent another one for fertility.
Right. Why does the same one have to moonlight?
Yeah, well,
It's a bunch of bullshit. It was pre-union days. Go on, second.
I belong to deity local number 279.
I think the Egyptians might be deity local number 1, but
They're pretty early on. So Sekhmet appeared. Here's the thing. Ra was the creator of all of the everything.
the sun.
And the earth and the people and all the things.
Yeah.
At one point, this is my favorite Sekhmet story. At one point, Sekhmet was sent so Ra, and there are different versions of this story. I'll give you just one of the versions, and if you want to quibble with me, go ahead.
Go on.
Ra decides that everybody's being shitty. All of the humans that he created are being kind of shitty. So he's going to kill them all. Or he's going to kill a bunch of them.
This comes up often in religious texts.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody has to die.
Now, come on. There's no way that the Christian God could be like that, right? I don't know. Here's what. So he sends down Sekhmet, or sometimes he sends down another goddess. Anyway, Sekhmet is going crazy. She is like, I think bloodthirsty is literally a Sekhmet trademark.
She was drinking the blood.
She was slaughtering everybody.
Ugh.
And that's when Ra went, oh shit, she's actually killing everybody.
Oh, she was coloring outside the lines.
All of the everybody's. There's not going to be any more humans. So Ra, like, apparently he tries to stop her just by saying, kiddo, maybe a little less
Honey.
on the murdering.
Honey, but he's a typical like helicopter parent. She doesn't listen.
She doesn't listen. She is just going nutty. So his solution, which maybe it's brilliant, is to take beer and color it red. And then she thinks it's blood, and she just drinks it down and gets so drunk that she then sort of passes out.
All right, so I think...
And stops killing all of the people.
Cutting to the chase, what you're saying here is beer is pretty much always the answer.
Beer, since the ancient Egyptian times, beer is the answer.
It's going to cure what ails you.
And I think our Water Witch boys at the end are gonna be able to...
Let's see what they have to say about
confirm that. But anyway...
So she got intoxicated on,
and then passed out
on blood beer.
Or chilled. That was the word I was looking for.
Right.
It was not coming out. Chilled out enough that like she was like, "Oh, I guess I don't have to kill all of the rest of the people. I'll be okay." And then she was fine, and we as a species survived.
Jesus.
So that's nice that we're still here.
Yeah.
Worshippers of Sekhmet, each of the Egyptian gods had their own cults, that, with their own rituals and priestesses and priests and whatever. The Sekhmet cult was interesting. They were so afraid of her that, usually you put up a statue or an image of your god and you pray to it or whatever. They had one for every day of the year. They had 365 Sekhmet statues so that they could worship a different one because they just needed this bitch to be happy.
Oh yeah. Like, were they all exactly the same? Or?
No, I think they were different.
Wow.
But all had a sort of lioness face on it. And
see, I think this is the local sculptors union. Overplaying their hand, but successfully.
Yeah. They definitely they had one really good sales guy.
Yeah.
Who was like, wait, you've only got 2 of these?
You're never going to believe what I just did.
This woman, no. Wait, you guys are Sekhmet, right? Yeah, you're going to need one for every day.
So what would they pour? Was beer like the thing? Would they pour beer on her? Or?
Let me tell you something. You get drunk. If you're worshiping Sekhmet, you get drunk. That is the preferred methodology, to the point where there was a palace found at Luxor, an ancient palace that had what they called an intoxication porch. just because, you know what?
Is it for Sekhmet? So it was for the Sekhmet.
It is not enough to just a little sippy sip here and there. That's not what we're going for when it's Sekhmet. You worship Sekhmet by getting just shit hammered.
You go hard.
You go hard.
Nice.
So on her day, there's a day that they would celebrate her, and literally everybody would. I mean, and who doesn't want to be a part of this celebration? There's each of these gods has their big day of celebration.
Yeah.
You want to go to the Sekhmet one because it's just get plowed.
So what attribute of this porch made them understand it was an intoxication porch?
I have no idea.
Just a bunch of
maybe they're just making it up.
Bunch of cans, or maybe it was
it's like ancient beer cans.
That would be awesome, an ancient aluminum beer can. Was it like a tilted porch for fluids?
Yeah, it does seem like maybe there was some taps in the wall,
drainage,
and drains everywhere for various and sundry.
Any Australian listeners might know this. An Australian friend of mine told me that when what's the state that Sydney's in? Is it New Queensland or
New South Wales?
South Kidney or something.
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Did I just say a thing?
I think it's New South Wales.
I have no idea.
So I guess at one attempt to control booze consumption was they made drinking only legal from 5 to 7.
Oh.
In the afternoon. So there was this thing called the I think it was the 6 o'clock swill, where the guys would run from the factories to the bars and start pounding beers as fast as they could. But
sounds healthy.
The bar front was also a urinal.
Oh, good.
So they would just stand there and drink and piss.
Pull out their wieners and then start drinking.
Yeah.
And then whatever pours out, pours out.
Yeah. Isn't that nice?
Just goes straight through.
That sounds like a nice afternoon at
Sounds
the bar with the boys.
Who wouldn't want that?
So maybe that's what the intoxication porch was.
I feel like you're just slandering
Sekhmet
down under now.
Oh, no.
I feel like you've just made something up to make Aussies look bad.
I wouldn't dare. Everything they have is poisonous. I wouldn't dare.
Right. And punchy. They seem to be very punchy.
Yeah.
Even their animals box.
Yeah, they're very punch forward. But they seem like nice people. And
there you go. So Sekhmet, let's bury her back in the graveyard of the gods.
Sekhmet, and remember, folks and friends, that people used to believe in Sekhmet as fervently as your friends and neighbors may say in Jesus.
Yeah.
But she's just another one of thousands of gods that may now rest in pieces.
Moving on.
Uncle Dan.
Yes, sir.
This week we are going to meet the Church of God with signs following.
Which to me sounds like it's a protest march.
I don't know why there's something so weird in Old Testament, even though it's in the New Testament, that this scripture comes from. There's just something so weird and magical and strange about it.
Signs follow. I just feel like I feel like people are walking behind me, holding up like God hates fags sort of signage.
That they probably are not too far from that particular bent, but I would say these people, if we take the generally accepted cultural view of them, probably are not strong readers. So you friends, you probably don't know the Church of God with signs following, but I'll bet you know about snake handlers.
Oh, they're the snaky ones.
They're the snake handlers. So this is a very particular branch of the weird Pentecostal American Protestant tree.
Oh yeah.
There are all kinds of these are people that are very related to the holy rollers and the speaking in tongues and the rolling on the floor of the church. This is all
love it.
They're all kind of this family, but I would say the snake handlers are perhaps the most colorful.
Well, especially after that venom gets into them.
So okay, so let's drill into them. Let's bite down a little bit. So Mark 16, 17, and 18.
Hey, that's your book.
That's my book. The book of Uncle Mark. Here's the scripture from which they take their cues. And these, I'm going to read it. I'm going to read it in an old-timey
I think you ought
Southern radio accent.
Okay.
And these signs shall follow them that believe. In my name they shall cast out devils. They shall speak with new tongues. They shall take up serpents. And if they drink any deadly thing, it will not hurt them. Ooh. They shall lay hands on the sick, and they shall recover. Amen.
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 I mean, that sounds great. I can see the appeal of that. I would like to be able to drink any deadly thing and be fine.
Well, we'll talk about that at the end of the show.
Oh, yes, indeed. There are some deadly things.
But the picking up the snakes. So, friends, this is kind of the danger of biblical literalism.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of saying, okay, maybe these things are just weird stories from a time when we were even more stupid than we are now.
Or metaphor.
What these folks do is they say, all right, man, bring on the copperheads.
Indeed.
And they do. Now, lest we get, too ahead of ourselves, let's remember that it's believed that there's probably under 10,000 or maybe only as many as 5,000 adherents to the Church of God with signs following and their related kind of reptile cults.
Yes.
But in a weird way, we talked about Sekhmet and Egyptian stuff. There is something wonderfully strange and old world magic about this idea.
Yeah.
But
there is, and here's the thing about snakes. Now I had a pet snake for just a little while. Wasn't actually mine, but my friend's wife wouldn't let him have it at their house. And so I had this Argentine boa, not venomous,
but strong.
Yes, a powerful snake.
Yeah.
You didn't want to be a rat or mouse in its vicinity. And here's the thing about snakes: they're not cuddly. They're not. But they. If they don't feel threatened, sometimes they're just fine. Then if you hold them or whatever, they'll deal with it. They'll be okay.
Yeah.
However, that's not always the case. They don't always feel unthreatened. As a matter of fact, I was snake bit one time by that little bastard.
Owie.
Because they don't know what it was. Probably my own. It was my own fault.
Oof.
I had changed the deal.
Yeah.
I was reaching under his little enclosure. He had a little log that he liked.
I was going to say,
under.
do we need an explicit warning for what you're about to talk about?
No,
okay.
no. I was just going to pull him out from under his log.
Snake sexy time.
And he was not prepared to come out from under his log and let me know.
Ow.
Yeah. So.
Did he break your skin?
Oh yeah. Oh, they have super sharp teeth. So it was just like it was bleedy, but you wash it out. They have bacteria there, so you got to wash.
I was going to say, did you get some whack jungle infection from that?
No. Just the embarrassment of because I had done this to show off for a lady.
Oh.
I was like, "You want to see my snake?" And she thought I meant something else, but no. And then just kidding. And then I tried to pull it out, and he was happy where he was.
Wow.
So I was told.
So that if in the Church of God with Science following, that would have been seen as a defect of your devotion and
of my faith.
Yeah,
I was faithless.
So these guys, they don't handle your Argentine pythons or boas. They handle copperheads, cottonmouths, and have been known to import cobras.
Yeah.
Like and these guys are for real. They don't do like the snake charmers do, which is devenom and defang.
Or they say they don't.
Well, enough of them die.
Right. We know for a fact that sometimes they don't because we've heard tell of many of them who apparently weren't faithy enough.
Correct. So it's a test of your faith. So they get bitten, and even it's sinful or whatever. It's a failure of your devotion to get bitten. But then, furthermore, you don't seek medical help.
Right.
So
because that would be super non-faithy.
Right. You're testing God at that time. You're challenging God's will. So, one of the most famous ones, and his name is not in this picture, is seen standing there holding a snake with his remaining arm because he lost the other one to venom.
Okay. Well, there's that. That'll happen.
These folk also drink poison to test their faith.
Oh, good. Oh, smart. Yeah.
Yeah. Since it says you will drink. If they drink any deadly thing, it shall not hurt them. So they drink strychnine, which, as far as I know, is oldie-timey poison that probably has a skull and crossbones on a brown bottle.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
I don't know what it is exactly, but
it's
deadly.
It's the worst of all of the nines.
It's the strictest nine.
It's strictest of the nines.
So yeah, this is
what's really funny to me is that in terms of a test of faith, I think they all pass. I think everyone that holds a venomous snake as a test, as a show of faith, they pass. Go ahead and use the medicine if you get bit, because you have the faith.
Yeah, if you pick up and our maybe our overseas listeners that we hope we have don't know about cottonmouths or copperheads, but these are insanely venomous snakes.
Yeah,
these are extremely deadly North American snakes that you should not come in any contact with.
No.
So yeah, I agree. It's a test of faith or it's a test of balls, like
right,
or a severe head trauma.
Or exactly. It may be an intelligence test, which their faith test they're passing.
Yeah.
The intelligence test they're struggling a little bit on that one.
Yeah. we sometimes in the States have a unfortunate tendency to make mockery of our rural Southern brothers and sisters, but in this case, I think the mockery is pretty spot on.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I did. I think I can categorically say it is a foolish thing to pick up a deadly poisonous snake.
I completely agree. So, I hope you enjoyed our time meeting our friends.
Yeah, don't
Church
join
of
those. Don't join those religions. They've had multiple leaders die.
Yeah.
Because they take up the serpents. Learn from their mistake.
But yeah, before you join a religion, maybe ask what their policy on poisonous snakes is.
Right. Hey, has anyone died from practicing your religion?
Yeah.
Just from doing the normal thing that you guys do?
Or just what animals are involved in a Sunday service. That is good
It's
to know.
great because it might be cool animals. There could be a draw there, but if it's poisonous snakes, you can just walk away.
Yeah, if it's Methodist, maybe the animal is the Sunday ham. That's okay. Maybe that's okay, right?
I think so.
All right. Well,
Moving on.
Okay, friends. Well, in our maiden segment of How To, today we're going to touch on something that was a prohibition for many of us, maybe not for all of our listeners, but certainly for those of us in Mormon country, and that is drinking.
Yeah, we got alcohol was a prohibition. It was not more than a prohibition. It's the devil's drink.
It was literally forbidden 100% of the time, and still is by Mormons and Mormonism. So we thought we'd ask two very dear friends here, Sean and Scott, from the Venerable Water Witch in Salt Lake City, which is an awesome bar. If you haven't been, go. If you're too young, make a fake ID. They'll let you in.
Indeed. Fellas, welcome, and thanks for coming here.
Oh, thanks for having us. By the way, we retract that last thing you said about IDs.
Yeah.
Don't take it
Wink.
We just won't do it.
We won't do it.
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
I know what you're saying.
Gotcha.
I know what you're saying in case the cops are listening. So I think we're going to ask a very critical question today that I wish someone had been able to answer for me a little more cogently when I started living my life a little more fully, which is how to drink. Where to begin?
It does. It seems like a very it's a broad topic, right? I wouldn't hit you with that, but I am going to start with the parable of Uncle Dan and his drinking. I didn't start drinking until well after I had left the church, and part of that was because I don't know. I just had not hang-ups, but I just didn't. It didn't appeal to me. When I did decide to start drinking, also I fucking hated the flavors. Like alcohol itself tastes bad. Can we all agree on that?
No.
I disagree.
No?
No,
I'm saying the ethanol itself. The stuff itself.
Yeah, I mean, if you're drinking pure ethyl alcohol, it's not pleasant.
Right.
But
and that's in all of the things.
It is in all of the things, and that's sort
I'm
of
not the expert here,
trick.
but I'm just gonna jump in and say I don't recommend that as a starting point.
Yeah, I mean, if your
Everclear.
first drink is Everclear, that's not the good move.
Right. We're so lesson 1, we're cautioning you away from starting with Everclear.
Yeah,
Amen.
But do you guys remember your first beer?
I do. Yeah,
I despised that stuff. I thought it was
I
swill.
just discussed this with a friend a half hour ago. My first taste of beer, I was 8 years old, and I snuck one of my uncle's beers at a family reunion, and I was very, very Mormon at the time. And I literally spit it out and declared it to be evil, and I didn't forgive myself until many years later. I thought I'd done something very, very bad.
That was your first taste.
That was my first taste, yes.
And then can I ask how long before the second?
Second taste probably occurred when I was 15 or 16, something like that. And then, I toyed with this whole Mormonism thing and then jettisoned it when I was 18. And then it's all downhill from there.
I actually did the whole. I mean, I went pretty hard in the paint. I mean, as any good son would do. Regardless, I mean, I never really understood what drew me to anything, and looking back, I don't think I actually really cared, except for the fact that my family did it, and I didn't want to hurt anybody.
The Mormonism, not the drinking.
So yeah, the Mormonism. So I didn't actually have a drink. I was a very good boy until I was 21.
You made 21, so you were just back off your.
I was back off my mission.
Your 2-year bicycle.
However, I did not make it very long.
I was 24. I have to say, I was like you. I was. My heart was out of the church years and years before.
So here's what I remember. I remember, okay, I'm going to start drinking now. And then there was this big, how? Like I had this big moment of like, okay, so I go into a bar and there's 1,000 options, and I've heard of things like martinis on TV, and I know they have olives. I don't like olives. I don't know what to do. So what I would do is I would walk in, and first of all, my transition in, and I'll see if you guys like this strategy. My transition in was I wanted the straightest line between me and drunk that I could get. I feel like that was a bad idea. And then but I also needed it to be as sweet as possible because I just needed to get past that alcohol-y taste. So I would walk into a bar and just say, I like my drinks like I like my men, strong and fruity. And we'd go from there.
Right.
And I just let them make whatever they would make because I didn't know what the fuck to do. So what are you guys' thoughts? We're gonna take our friend listener into a bar, and they're intimidated. They see people ordering. You guys are behind the bar, and you're in a frantic panic, trying to not a panic. You're very cool, collected fellas, but you're helping all of the people. So clearly, they don't have time to have a long talk with you. What should we start with?
Well, I think there's a couple different. Do you mind if I unpack that question for 2 seconds? Because I think that there's something in there we need to talk about. Because everybody in this room, we grew up in the church, right? It's in the church. We don't have sex, we don't do drugs, a lot of them do, but we grew up in the church. Really, ultimately, the only vice you've got is sugar, right? So you grew up drinking like these big, giant soda pop drinks, and having pissing contests and root beer floats, getting real wild.
Go to your friend's house and you drink like 4 sodas.
Yeah.
Or like 5. Like you drink like a 6-pack of soda instead of a 6-pack of beer.
And you would kind of actually be intoxicated.
Like Fanta, like Fanta red cream soda, and you just jam it into you. And so that transition, it's very, very common, I think, for people within the church to start off with fruity drinks or sweet drinks because sugar is like the thing that we're allowed to do, right? So that's our point of reference. And I even to this day, I would talk to my wife and I say, hey, listen, we're going down to Mormon country to do a Mormon thing, a family thing, and we come back dehydrated every time. Just there's all this sugar happening. We don't drink water, we drink soda. It's crazy, but I just wanted to.
No, that's an interesting thought. It had not occurred to me that this was me transitioning from soda or whatever it was I was drinking at the time into this. So that's an interesting point.
Yeah,
Smarties.
And in
too.
all honesty, yeah. I mean, the fact of the matter is that at its core, there's a lot of reasons why people drink. And I think that for anybody that's leaving the church or is curious, I think that actually having an understanding of why they're going and having a drink is really important. Is it experimentation? Are they celebrating and they have friends that are going to the bar to celebrate to drink? Are they emotionally down and they're looking for something that they feel like they need to grasp onto to dull the pain, and they've heard that drink can drown sorrows? And so you kind of need to know what you're going for.
That's fascinating. Yeah. That's a great point to take this to, because I do want to say that I think my observation has been that when people leave at least the Mormon church, and I'm guessing other churches that have prohibitions on drinking, so Islam or whatever, when you start to drink, I think, especially if you're young, you go directly to drunk. Because I was raised believing that the reason that you drink is to be drunk.
Yeah.
And it was a long time before it occurred to me, people don't just get drunk, they do other things. They get a little buzz, or they get a little, like to me it was like 0 to all the way.
Yeah. And I mean, I was the same way. I was 21 though, and all of my friends drank. I grew up in New Mexico, and when I started hanging out with normal humans again after I went on a mission, all of my friends were newly minted 21-year-old card carrying legal drinkers, and they're like, yes, I'm so happy to see you, I'm glad you're back, let's go hang out. And we would go to a bar, and I'm like, well.
So why do people drink?
For all of those reasons, but at the core, I mean, speaking as a daily drinker now, I don't actually want or enjoy getting drunk. It's actually a feeling that feels uncomfortable to me. And I drink because I enjoy it. I drink because, but that takes a while. It is an acquired taste, and it comes from a long time of, we taste alcohol for a living and choose the things that we like the most to put on the walls. I mean, we like everything.
Right.
And that is not where you start. You do not like everything.
Right.
I started off, I think my first drink was a Bacardi and Diet Coke because someone bought it for me, and I was too embarrassed to not drink it.
Right.
And and she was a beautiful girl, and I was like, well, she's not going to think I'm cool if I don't drink this.
Did you like the drink?
It tasted like a vanilla Coke.
Yeah.
And I was, there was definitely something that I was like, there's something in there that definitely is a flavor sensation that I've not experienced before. Not even a flavor sensation, almost more of a tactile sensation. Just in my mouth, there was something that was sort of hot but not spicy or temperature hot, or it was a very foreign thing, but it wasn't aggressive. I had this, again, sugar. I had this thing that allowed me to just drink it and experience it, and I did that. I felt nothing. I was sitting down, and then immediately I stood up, 10 minutes later, and I had sort of this rush to my head. And I was like, whoa, I feel it.
Yeah.
And that was my first moment with that.
How much of that was love, though,
I mean, nothing happened with this girl shot. Even
Lust
though I
is a
probably
sin.
wanted it to because I was, freaking out after 2 full years.
For part of it for me when I first, it was weird that I'd already kind of I've left religion intellectually and in my heart, which I never really was a big lover of it. But for me, there was this, I was 24. I was already kind of working in my industry, which is kind of very social industry I work in. And like a lot of things, I felt like I needed to make up for lost time. It felt like I needed to become a full adult, and drinking was part of that.
Yeah.
That I had to escape this extended childhood that religion kind of, I felt forced on us. And so, I started with a Miller High Life and was like, oh, fuck, really? Is that what this is? It's awful.
What's the hubbub all about?
Yeah.
Well, I think, if you ask that question, it goes deep. I mean, it's all scientific and shit, I mean, we
drop some science on us
let's drop some science on it. I mean, so what we're starting to understand is that almost every different sect of Homo sapien figured out that booze was good and decided to like it. So
that's right. There hasn't been a single ancient a single culture that didn't have alcohol in it
of one form or another, right? And so there were some cultures that only use it in medicine, and didn't get, I think, probably maybe the intestinal and liver fortitude. Like the Europeans, they just drank like crazy. So and also we see this happening across time. Is basically, if you look at history, it's 4 things. It's the history of human beings, the history of booze, religion, music, and food. That's it. That's like what we are, right? And as kids, we grew up in this religion that said, hey, there's a whole entire portion of our existence that we're going to deny. And so I think part of the that tendency to explode out of that, I don't know how much of it is social and how much of it is actually sort of built into us as people.
Like DNA level drinkers.
Humans like to get fucked up. I do.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, I think that's part of the experimentation. If anything, for a first time or somebody that's interested wants to know where and how to start, if part of you is I want to understand this, and I want to understand like where my brain's at certain levels of drinking, the one thing I would suggest more than anything is to, if I think it's important to do it with friends, and to at least have one friend who is a drinker in the group so they can help you along.
Right.
But do it at home or in someone's home.
Oh, interesting.
And experiment. I think it's important for people to understand that when you take a shot of alcohol or drink a drink, you're not necessarily going to feel what that does for you for potentially even like the full extent of it up to maybe 25 to 30 minutes after you have that.
Right.
And so when people just think they can go shot for shot and they're guzzling alcohol and that's the way they do it, they're not going to feel great because they don't realize where they're at. There's no gauge. So I think it's important for people to feel the buzz, to feel the effect. And I think it's important for people to get drunk once or twice, maybe even super sloppy, wake over and feel what that actually does to you the next day.
Yeah,
it's a
and
great
so you
deterrent.
actually like
It's a wonderful
you
deterrent.
know, you gauge where you're at, you feel and you understand the impact on your body, and you potentially even teach yourself how and where, what your signs are as a drinker as to this is where I like to draw the line.
Now, there is one problem with that, which is that the more impaired you are, the less able you are to really self-assess.
Big time.
So
And that's what I'm
be
saying.
aware that you may think that you're doing just fine, but once you pass a certain level,
That's
your self-assessing is going to go
and
a little slaunch-wise.
that's part of experimentation, right? I mean, that you start to figure that out about yourself, and it's also nice because you will get that to that point before your friend, who's the experienced drinker, and they're going to tell you all about it the next day, and they're gonna be like, you're gonna be like, what happened last night? And you're like, do you want the truth?
Do you remember the monkeys?
Where do you remember where your pants are? Yeah. And you guys see this. You see people blowing past these thresholds pretty frequently, I would imagine.
And we do not allow them to pass that threshold in our establishment.
No,
You do like
There is no inebriation.
you need to
all-
monitor people very heavily.
right. You actually have a legal responsibility.
Yeah.
We literally, if you're
bartender,
wasted, we
right?
won't serve you. That's
Yeah.
that's how that works. And if somebody's beyond that line, we have our little tricks for making sure we do that in a way that makes somebody not feel stupid. But if
Right.
they're crossing a line, they will know that they're crossing a line. They'll get water or a soda pop instead of a drink. I mean, it changes changes the dynamic of a room when somebody is out of control, sloppy ass drunk.
Oh, yeah.
It's gross. I'll be honest with you. It's sort of gross. And
And
you
it
get
makes
to this over time.
everybody uncomfortable.
Right. And we've been doing this for so long now to where I know that I can sit down with a tasting session with Scott. We can look at the booze on the table and understand what our limits are without even drinking them. We know where to go with it. And so I think what he's saying about, drinking with your friends and people that you know and trust is hugely important, especially when you're first starting out. You need a spirit guide.
You
need a spirit
do, you do, and you also have to understand that I mean, there are there's hundreds, maybe even thousands types of alcohol chemically. We can only consume one of them as humans and process it. That's ethyl alcohol, and it is a poison.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like sometimes the first drink that you should have is probably not a shot of whiskey because you hear that's a manly Western thing to do. Because your first gut reaction, your body's going to say, "Are you kidding me right now?"
Yeah, that was what I did.
Yeah.
My buddy and I decided, you know what? We're both Mormons. We're both former Mormons. We're out. We were in Vegas, not to have fun. We were in transit. Vegas was just our stopover point, but we weren't driving the next day. And I just said, "You want to get drunk?" And he said, "Yeah." So we went to a liquor store, and we went up to the person. We were like, literally, "What is the shortest distance between here and drunk?" And he grabbed a fifth of Jack. That's Jack Daniels for you that don't know. That is a whiskey. And he plopped it down. We paid for it. We took it back to our hotel room. We ordered a Domino's pizza. And
The American dream.
we did it. We
what
did
you're
it
saying.
up American style. And I was the sickest
Yeah.
forever. Like we downed the whole bottle.
Yeah, bad
between
move.
the two of us. And didn't really we didn't go out when we did it.
Yeah.
Just two guys in a hotel room drunk. You don't feel anything fun from that. It's not fun to just be sitting there impaired. Like you want to be like playing, having fun with your friends or whatever. We were just in a room watching TV, being drunk. This is the worst way to do it.
Yeah.
What I did.
So I might have mentioned to you guys I had a conversation with a really dear friend of mine who left the Mormon church when she was 40. And when I was telling her about bringing you guys on the show, she's like, "Oh my God, please hurry." So it's we all have these youthful-ish experiences, maybe some of us in our mid-20s, but we are potentially talking to younger people, but at the same time we're talking to someone like my friend who was 40. And I know we've kind of talked about a whole bunch of like philosophically different ideas about drinking, but what as a drinking professional, for lack of a better term, what would you guys say is a safe place to start?
If I could put some guidelines generally because alcohol is an entirely different language. It's like learning Spanish. You
Yeah.
feel it's very foreign when you start going into
It's
this.
intimidating.
And so you need to know a few basic things.
Great.
The first thing is if somebody wants to start drinking, starting with hard liquor can be very difficult because that is easily the most aggressive. To put this on in perspective, let's say your average beer by volume of liquid in the bottle is around 5% alcohol.
Okay.
The next step up,
and it'll say on the label.
It'll say it on the label. And so don't go in and be like, well, my friend drinks double IPAs, which are at 11%, and they are some of the most aggressively flavored things of all time.
Right.
You don't want to start there. That's like saying, I'm going to drink, and you get a bottle of Lagavulin 16.
Right.
Which is the worst.
Which is a Scotch for those of you who don't know. I mean, a very expensive Scotch.
Yeah, So
Scotch.
you don't start there for many reasons, but it's also very aggressively flavored. And so I think that the move is understanding what you enjoy. Think about things that you enjoy that are comforting as a drink. And if something that you do gravitate towards is soda, if that's a grounding, a safe place for you, then you can literally buy a spirit liquor, which is going to be on average 80 proof, which is 40% alcohol. That means the total liquid in the bottle, 40% of that is ethyl alcohol.
Right.
And
8 times that of a beer. 8 times that of a beer.
8 times.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why your first drink, you don't want to fill the glass with liquor.
Right.
But do take something that is a comfort to you. Like if you are a Coca-Cola drinker, there's a very large population of the world that drinks alcohol in Coca-Cola because it's comforting.
A rum and Coke is a traditional thing that you hear
It is a
lot
classic.
Not even just traditional. It's one of the best cocktails ever invented.
Yeah.
It truly is a classic. I mean, and I drink them all the time. I mean, gin and tonics. We call them, highball drinks. They're really, really basic, but they're there for a reason.
They are classic. They are delicious, and you should not think that. The other thing is that, especially if you're a little bit older, you probably have a lot of friends. Maybe they're into, I don't know, the quote unquote craft cocktail, or maybe they like martinis, or they sip on whiskey neat, or they sip on something on the rocks. And it can be a very intimidating thing, or you might think less of yourself to be like, I'll have a whiskey Coke to the bartender.
Right.
But honestly, what you need to understand is that no one is going to look at your drink choice negatively. You just need to drink something that you enjoy and you feel comfortable with. But also realize if you're doing this in the comfort of your own home, understand what is appropriate to put in a glass. And maybe for the first little bit, you can just try splashing without measuring, but you should be consuming maybe an average of 1.5 to 2 ounces of liquor, and then the rest of that kind of 6 to 8 ounces is soda. And that is where your appropriate ratios exist.
There you go.
Measure.
And so
by all means,
you should measure.
Buy a jigger.
Yeah.
That's an implement for measuring your alcohol.
Yeah. Or if you don't have a jigger, a quarter cup. I'm sure you all have baking supplies.
There you go.
A quarter cup is 2 ounces.
Perfect.
And that's a big drink.
That's a big drink.
That's a strong drink.
You will feel that drink if it's your first drink.
Is there an eighth of a cup measure? I think there is.
Yeah.
So that would be an ounce.
That would be an ounce.
An ounce.
And
There
that
you go.
you can start figuring that out. And if you want to do that, then you can add alcohol and top it with something that is comfortable. And you'll taste it because it's foreign. But if it's not something you enjoy, here's the other thing. Experiment with the way it makes you feel. If you enjoy that, then you can figure out what you like. But if you don't honestly enjoy alcohol, you don't have to drink.
Right.
What? Blasphemy. Is that true?
It's
You
true.
don't have to?
You don't have to.
Amazing.
It's pretty amazing.
It goes both ways. People apply pressure on the other side too. When it's like, hey, listen, at Waterwitch, we encourage people to be designated drivers and to be good stewards of their neighbors. And we want our friends that are Mormon to be able to come in and feel comfortable. We do all sorts of non-alcoholic beverages all the time.
Yeah. I mean, it's important for us to have them.
That's
we
that's
just
an
have to
interesting
have it.
point, because I think that I was so uncomfortable. Again, I felt I felt like I was stuck in this weird childhood, and that if I went to a bar with friends or went to a place and didn't drink, that everybody would be staring daggers at me. Everybody would think I was a freak. And you guys are saying exactly the opposite.
Yeah. I mean, I think
that there's no shame in ordering an iced. I don't know if
There's
iced
nothing
tea,
worse
but
than pressure drinking. I hate it
Right.
when I'm sitting around, and people feel like they need to slam 7 shots in a row. That's disgusting. That's what the British did to America. That is the British legacy to America is here. Drink too much without eating. That's pretty much what the British did to us, and it's still very much alive. It's
I
still
call
out
that
there.
I call
our
that
culture.
frat drinking.
Frat drinking, exactly.
And frankly, it's even if you are young and you're a college student, don't do it. There's no reason to binge drinking, like getting yourself just shit hammered. I get like you want to party or whatever. You're going to be able to party a lot longer and have more fun if you keep it. If you just keep a nice buzz going the entire night. Would you agree?
Yeah,
and every
absolutely.
time you get wasted, it's a medical fact. Every time you get wasted, you cause permanent damage. I'm talking wasted. And so think about that. Next time somebody starts foisting a bunch of booze down your pie hole, think about it for yourself. You're protecting your body. Ultimately, if you get really, really wasted, it's causing damage.
right.
And and there is, again, like, it's such a tricky world because in the same breath, again, if we're celebrating, there's been many occasions where Sean and I will celebratorily have a shot of alcohol. So we're not saying that that's off limits, but I think experimenting with understanding what your body and how your body reacts to alcohol is important before you go ahead, you really go into it.
Agreed. I think what you guys are counseling and what I would say what we'd probably say at the same time is take your time. Like there's no rush. And I know I certainly felt there was when I was coming out because, again, I just want to make up for lost time. And I'm sure you guys had similar ideas about that. But
yeah, I mean, I
slow
definitely partied when I was young because
Mm-hmm.
I was young 20s. My friends were all young 20s, and that's what we did.
Yeah.
I guarantee you I did a lot of permanent damage when I was in my young 20s. Easily.
Thanks, British.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's just, you know what? Fuck the Brits. That's what I think that's the whole point of this entire conversation is just
Thanks,
screw
British
the
and German
Brits.
people.
Yeah, for
Right.
sure. And the other thing that you also need to understand is that there's a lot of trends and things that people think are really, really cool. And the other thing is you need to figure out how to be comfortable in your own skin with what you enjoy. And so if you're going out and you have a beer geek friend and he's telling you that, well, what you're drinking is wrong and this is right, just don't listen to him. Just be like, all right.
Here, drink this acidic sour garbage.
That's really
that all
funny.
The hipsters
Yeah.
are drinking nowadays.
That's really funny. I will listen to you when you stop playing Street Fighter 8 hours a day because I mean that's unfortunately what a lot of beer geeks are.
Yeah.
Just kidding. We love our beer.
We
geek
love all of
friends.
our beer geeks. What are
But
we talking about?
there can be a real snobbery
Yeah, and
with certain people.
They can't make me drink sour beers. None of you
Yeah.
can make me drink
Yeah.
sour
Well,
beers.
well,
and
there's
I
beer
love sour beers,
snobs.
but that's beside the point.
There are beer snobs, and what's funny is that you can have a beer snob who's a total IPA. Like, I need all of the hops. If there's hops floating in my beer, that's probably for the best. And then there are beer snobs on the other side who are all about malty beers, and they're all just. I mean, what they're trying to do is foist their taste
Right.
on everybody else.
And the thing is that they are all right because all beer is good. You just need to understand what it is. There's a range, there's a spectrum. If and ask questions. If you're like, I have had this beer, this is my yardstick that I measure things by.
Right.
And just go. It is good to experiment. It's the same way like with food. You don't know if you like something unless you try it.
Yep.
So be open-minded. Try to, remove the part of your brain for a moment that is, ew, I don't like it. It's drink it to understand it and actually hang out with it for a second.
Yeah,
Be
learn
like,
learn what those flavors are.
and actually drink it, be okay with it, and be like, you know what? That is something I don't like.
Well, and every single human being. Let's go back to science, shall we?
I like it.
Every single human being has a different perception of flavor. It's like perception of color. I have no idea if I'm looking at the red shirt that you're wearing right now, and it might be purple. In all reality, we have our own perception. So people literally will taste things that are sour. You do sensory perception. I've done a number of sessions, real deep sessions with people that understand flavor and understand smell, and human beings have completely different concepts of what sweet and sour are, or what salty is, or what savory is.
Well, and they connect to them differently.
Yeah.
So you may really like sour may hit you in a way that you just adore, and I don't, or vice versa. And also, so I mean, like, just so that we sort of provide this guidance, just so you know, kids out there in listener land, you can be a snob about wine, you can be a snob about beer, you can be a snob about liquors, but I wanted to underline your point, Scott, that it is nobody's business what you like. It's not like what you like. Yeah. Get out there. Try all the things. I think that's great advice.
Yeah.
And then like what you like.
Yeah, I mean, be open-minded, but if there is something that is comfortable and you enjoy it, I mean, I am, I'm a daily drinker. I also said I don't enjoy the feeling of being intoxicated. And so a lot of people don't even know how that statement meets up. But I enjoy alcohol. But again, I've been tasting this stuff for 12, 13 years.
What's your fave? What's your poison?
Well, it's funny. I mean, I think that because of our line of work and the fact that we do taste so much alcohol, and we always have to, we kind of have to be on point if we want to put a new product on the shelf. We're consistently tasting spirit alcohol, which is super high alcohol content, and it's aggressive on your palate, in your mouth. It's an aggressive presence. And we're tasting it to understand it. And, we have a yardstick by which we do that, and it's very difficult to explain, unfortunately. But I honestly, what I end up gravitating towards when at the end of the night is I want something cold and refreshing, and I drink a lot of lagers and Mexican beers.
Oh, love Mexican beers.
A lot of, we all sort of jokingly refer to that type of stuff as like a lawnmower beer. The thing that is just ice cold, refreshing, carbonated.
But it's so light.
It's so light.
Gently flavored.
You don't have to even think about it. And I gravitate towards those things because oftentimes we're on flavor overload.
Right.
Tasting all this stuff. And I'm like, can I just have something that tastes, I just want refreshment.
Right. I need to cool down. I need a drink. Yeah. I'm sort of thirsty, actually thirsty.
I'm actually thirsty. And the thing is when you do develop a flavor and a taste for alcohol, and I legitimately love.
I've recently started. I'm on a shandy kick.
Yeah, I mean it's good.
That's beer and lemonade. When I first heard about it, like the first time I heard about it, the guy next to me was like, "Shandy, that's no good. That's about got all snobby with me on it." And I was just like, "Yeah, but did you put it in your mouth hole? Because I'm enjoying this.
It is delicious."
How about you, Sean? What's your?
Oh, I for sure when I sit down and relax for the evening right now, I'm reaching for a malt. So a malt whiskey. I'd prefer not to say Scotch because that means a very specific thing to us. But I really am enjoying malts and brandies right now. So typically the tail end of the evening, I'm going to be sipping on a hard spirit, not a lot of it.
Yeah, and that's a lot of flavor.
Yeah. And, and again, like I do the same thing. I'd say that the bulk of the alcohol I consume is in light, kind of low alcohol beers because again, they're refreshing. I enjoy them, and I know where my limits are, and I know how to pace myself, and I know that if I have one, or I can have one with lunch, and I know I don't need to like take a nap in my car after lunch. Yeah. But at the end of the night, I'm in a similar way. I oftentimes gravitate towards. I really love everything that sucks.
It's hard. It's like picking a child,
except for vodka.
You're not a vodka guy.
I don't drink vodka, and I don't sip on gin. I enjoy gin mixed with things, but I don't go for a glass of gin and sip on it neat. I find it just a little edgy and harsh, but it's delicious in tonic and soda water and things like that, or shaken with, citrus and other little flavors. But I sip on rum, especially aged rums. And
rum's making a hard comeback right now.
Big time.
Rum,
well, I think
rum is huge
because
right
people we didn't understand what rum was, especially through the 80s and 90s, because the rum industry pushed an agenda to send alcohol to the U.S. that tasted like vodka, because that's what was popular at the time.
Cough.
Yeah, and so what ended up happening is you have an entire world that produces rum basically, and massive amounts of diversity in styles and flavors. But what we understand in the U.S. Traditionally is Bacardi, which again is like the rum
Almost
version of
vodka.
vodka, and then you have like Captain Morgan, which is basically vodka with spices and sugar in it, and then you have Malibu, which is rum with sugar in it
with suntan lotion.
With suntan lotion in it, and that's what our perception is. But when you actually explore what the Caribbean has to offer, and you realize what rum can do if it's treated correctly, and like how it ages,
different it
oh
is.
my God, it's incredibly
all over
varied.
the place.
Have you guys had Barrelito from Puerto Rico?
I have not.
No.
Oh,
I mean,
it's amazing.
yeah, but I mean that I love that, and I like I typically gravitate towards things that have been aged in barrels if I'm going to sip on them, because barrels do tend to relax,
equal
mellow,
flavor,
right?
Yeah.
That's where color comes from, by the way. Everybody that's listening, alcohol does not come out of a still, which is what you need, the equipment that makes spirit alcohol. It doesn't come off of a still brown.
Right.
Everything comes out clear. The color comes from either they put color in it, or caramel or molasses or something to make it that color, or it's been aged in a barrel.
Yeah.
We're all right. So we're getting in the weeds here. Maybe what we'll do is we'll call it for today.
Yeah.
And maybe have you guys back. Would you be interested in coming back?
If you're asking whether or not Scott and I like to talk about booze, yes, we will come back at any. This is super fun. I love these discussions.
Unfortunately, yeah, that's like the hard thing is we haven't even scratched the surface.
No.
We literally started a business together so that we could do this with our partner Matt Full, so that we could sit around and nerd out on stuff like this.
All right. Well, we'll nerd out with you further later on. Scott and Sean, thank you so much for coming in. And we have just scratched the surface. There will be more to come.
Yeah, so guys, if you happen to be in the Salt Lake City area, which is where we all live, check out Water Witch Bar. It's really a terrific spot, and maybe you can meet one of these guys. Guys, thanks so much for coming in.
And it's no pressure.
None.
It's a no pressure.
It's a no pressure bar.
environment.
You will see that. So guys, thanks again.
Hey, thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us on.
Okay, friends, that's all we have for this week. We hope you enjoyed the maiden voyage of How-To Heretic.
Seems to be a worthy vessel.
And wow, what a great interview we had.
Yeah, thanks again to those boys, Sean and
Scott
for coming out. They're peaches.
And I need to thank our amazing kind of producer editor Cody Layton.
And thank you guys for tuning in. We'll talk to you next time.
Thanks, friends.